in honor of all breast cancer survivors like Andrea. Drivers, start your engine!
Seven cars tried to qualify today. 43 will take the green flag. And of course, there is David Rudiman, and he will be our in-race reporter. And we'll be talking to him when we come back to Memphis Motorsports Park as we'll get ready to go green. Race number 32 of the 2008 NASCAR Nationwide Series season. Oh, the celebration from last year was fun. Got a spin already in turn number 2. The 88, Brad Keselowski, is turned around. I don't know if he got some help, but he's got damage, and it looks like a flat left front.
Boy, he's got the left front is flat in that car. And that last shot we just saw, guys, the left front's locked up on it, so something is tore up in that car big time.
All right, run it hard. Let's see if it got shaped.
All right, let's go back and take another look at it as we are already caution number 1.
Here he is on the outside. He did get jacked up right from behind.
Boy, it looks like he got some help from the 27 car of Jason Keller. Keller got into him, but when that happened, take a look at this left front wheel. That car was sliding around and locked up the left front, even when he's trying to go straight forward, so might have a mechanical problem.
Well, I think what happened, Rusty, when it dug in like that with the left front, the low air pressure just knocked the tire right off the bead.
All right, so we're first caution on the first lap. I hope that it is not an omen of things to come, as there you see Brad making it back into pit lane. We'll get a break in here and hopefully go back to green flag racing at Memphis. You're back just in time for the green flag, as it is James Busher still in front of David Stremme. Third, it is Mike Bliss, Cale Gale, and Mark Davis rounds out your top 5, the 18-year-old rookie. Let's get you updated. Morgan Shepherd, remember he had a problem before the green flag. He is behind the wall, never did take the green, and Kevin LePage has pulled his car off track. Here, back to the action.
Not only did Morgan Shepherd have a birthday, Monday is Dick Trickle's birthday. Legendary Dick Trickle. Tell you a thing or two, didn't he, Russ?
Well, look at Jason Leffler taking a dive bomb underneath Mark Davis right now. Forcing his way through there. Stephen Wallace following through.
Yeah, this is where patience has to work.
Yeah, they got to be patient right now, because this is where the tires are cold. You can get over aggressive, and this is where the crashes happened last year.
Well, and this is where the more experienced guys are saying, welcome to the NASCAR Nationwide Series, rookie.
They stick him on the outside, and this is where Mark's going to have to be very smooth, be very patient, find a hole, get back in it. The inside is definitely the preferred line. Hopefully he can get down quicker. Otherwise, he's going to get freight trained all the way to the back.
You see Landon Castle working the bottom side of that racetrack, trying to follow through right now.
And Kenny Wallace is right behind him.
Yeah, Kenny's doing a great job, too. He's been fast in practice, fast in qualifying. He's having a good week.
That's still where all the passing action is taking place. Castle trying to get underneath and seal the deal for position.
He's got a hole. He needs to get down. There you go.
Tell you what, I'm really liking what Mark Davis is doing. This guy all through practice and qualifying looked great. He's looking good right now. Now here's Carl Edwards, Clint Boyer coming from the back, trying to get themselves to the front of this pack, knowing well they've got to be careful, Will.
They're 30th and 31st already. So here we are on lap 9, and they are slicing and dicing.
See him right now passing Derek Cope right there in the bottom.
Both of these guys, Clint's like, as long as I keep Carl in my sights, you know, we're going to win this championship. So that's all he's doing. He's just keeping them. He's going to stay glued to his bumper.
You saw that 22 car. That's Jared Johnson, Jimmy Johnson's brother. He also had to start back, did not make it in time for qualifying. And we had made a mention of the fact in the qualifying broadcast that the best thing he could do would be to try and tag along with those guys and learn some things. He's lost some contact.
He's doing a good job right now. We see Kelly Byers at the top part of our screen right there. Brand new sponsor on that car, AutoZone. I know Brad Doherty and Tad Schechter and the guys are loving that right now. Kelly's had a great year all year long. He's done a good job. He's got to be patient now. And another guy's a good short track racer. Kelly's looking good at the moment.
So Byers, who had to go to the back of the field for the unapproved changes after qualifying, continues to try and punch his way forward. Take a look as we jump a little farther forward in the field. Pick up Cale Gale in 4th. In the 33, Jason Leffler in 5th. And guys, one guy that is moving up quickly, and we'll zero in on him soon. David Rudiman is like a man possessed. He started in the back. He's already up to 12th.
Man, I tell you what, he knows that his car's capable of winning. He wants to go to St. Jude's and give him another trophy. So that is cool.
Shannon, you've got more.
Well, that 99 car, the same setup that David Rudiman ran in this race last season. Of course, he's the defending winner of this race. This weekend, Josh Wise was handed the car to qualify and to practice it. He did a great job qualifying 3rd. All they had to really do was tighten the car up for David Rudiman, but this car is looking good for the 99 team right now.
A little bit of rubbing going on, but that's what short track racing's all about. No harm, no foul.
Anytime you can start in the back and be in the top 10 in the first 20 laps, that's pretty darn good.
He picked up 20 spots in the first 5 laps.
I tell you, already the race is looking better right now than it did last year. They got a brand new tire this year. This tire is what they run at Richmond, Virginia, they're telling us, so it looks like it's got a little bit more grip. Last year, the cars were spinning out. They couldn't get enough heat in the tires. But this year, it looks like Goodyear brought a good tire back. A lot of grip out there, and you see Rudiman just flying through this field right now. So, obviously, those tires are working good for him.
Yeah, I tell you, I don't think the driver's meeting with old Joe Ballard's getting in there and probably stepping on a few toes and say, guys, we will not do what we did last year.
No,
let's be smart and let's do this right.
Randy, right now, the tone of the races looks totally different. I mean, last year, a lot of crashing, like we said. And they're all settled in right now, and they're running pretty quick laps right now. I mean, the pace hasn't fallen off much at all.
I'm going to tell you, Mr. Buscher is doing a very nice job. The 18-year-old has held on to the lead from the get-go. Stremme is right there, waiting to see if he gives him an opening.
Everybody's showing some pretty good patience right now. And Buscher, I was wondering how he would do early in this race. See if he would just get chewed right up by some of these veterans like Stremme and like Bliss and guys like that. But it's like you said, Marty's holding us on. That Brown racing team has been a good team all year long.
Absolutely. Here they are. This is where experience is going to come in. They're coming up to lap some cars, and we're going to see Mike Bliss and David Stremme all over these guys.
Look at the battle right now for 6th place. That's Stephen Wallace and Landon Castle. Stevens got it. Castle wants it. Meanwhile, take a look here as we got a battle for the race lead as you got Stremme looking underneath, and the lap traffic sort of helped set this all up. That's Brad Teague in the 52. And here comes all 3 of them trying to get around.
No, 3 wide in the short track. It usually doesn't work. And Stremme gets away with it wisely. Jumped out of the throttle, fell back in line. That could have been big.
So already we're seeing lapping at lap 18. We didn't have that till well past halfway last year. So this is a good sign. Vince, what's happening down in pit lane?
Well, how the 32 of James Buscher monitors traffic and manages his way through the traffic is going to be key for this 18-year-old. Just his 6th NASCAR Nationwide Series start. And his crew chief, Trent Owens, gave him a heads up as they were coming up on the lap traffic. Make sure you get through the lap traffic, and we can't waste time on the lap cars. That's where the inexperience may show, but he's handled it so far here in the early stages.
Now you can see he's going around Wheeler Boys right now, and he didn't give enough room for anybody to sneak underneath him.
That's one thing that he's doing a great job. I mean, when they told him, you know, we want you to be good and smooth, but man, when you get to these guys, pass them. That's one thing that comes with experience. You'll be watching these guys 2-3 cars ahead of you. You know where you're better than them. Get to the outside, get to the inside on their weak spots, and here comes Bliss.
Bliss has got the inside line on Stremme, and he takes over 2nd place. So Mike Bliss, who finished 2nd here last year, is in 2nd place again here on lap 21 of 250. So there is your top 5, and it's James Buscher, 18 years old, out in front here at Memphis. Well, we're looking at the 59 of Marcus Ambrose, and that's because he just brought out our 2nd caution as he turned it around in turn number 2. Doesn't look to be any worse for wear.
He was well on his way coming up. Boy, did you see him going in there? Oh, he got a little help.
Oh, he did get a little help from Clint Boyer.
Rusty, watch, his left front does the same thing. When the thing gets heavy right here, it knocks the left front right off the bead.
Yeah, they've tore the left front tires right off these things when they spin. You see Clint Boyer, he's trying to get from the back of the pack to the front quickly. But we had a lead change a little while ago. Take a look at Bliss underneath Buscher. Stabbing that throttle, racing him off at turn 4. Looks like Bliss has got the inside line.
Well, one thing I noticed here, look how much tape's on the front of that 32 car. It's cool here, but there's a lot of tape on that car, keeping some downforce in it.
So there was the change for the lead that happened during the break as well. The 59 of Ambrose was running 20th at the time of the spin, and you can see the crew trying to lift up that side to get underneath. Now the word we're getting is that the leaders will stay out, as we're only 28 laps with our second caution here at Memphis Motorsports Park. So we've had our first lead change here at the track. As we get ready to go back to green flag racing, it is the number 1 of Mike Bliss out in front. It's James Busher in second, David Stremme third, Cale Gill fourth, Jason Leffler rounds out your top 5.
Now Brad Keselowski, he has fresh tires on that thing. He's going to try to get one of his laps back.
Yeah, he's fell down 2 laps now. He's not just 1 down, he's 2 down. And he's got those fresh tires, like you said, Randy. And Bliss is on older tires, so he might be able to get around him right now and just get himself to 1 down. That'd be key for a guy going for a championship like Keselowski is.
Now, Rusty, we heard Tony Sr. say they put a sway bar arm on this thing, and they had to check the timing. Give us a little, what does timing on the sway bar have to do with it?
Well, right now the sway bar's got splines on the end of it. If they get that baby on the wrong end of the spline, the car is not going to handle right whatsoever. But it looks as though they did get the thing back on right. And boy, that's a tough job to do.
Yes, it is. It's hard to do that on the surface plate.
Look at Ruderman. I mean, he made easy work of Cale Gill and has just moved into the 5th spot.
Marty, one thing I've noticed that these guys, especially David Ruderman, is striking really fast. On these restarts, he is just going for it. He's not being patient. He's pretty comfortable who to pass, who he can race hard. And, man, he just knocked them out.
He hasn't won since this race last year.
Take a look at the 66. Stephen Wallace trying to get under Landon Castle. He's just a couple of positions behind the 99, which has been the car on the move. Shannon?
And believe it or not, that car is not exactly perfect for David Ruderman. He said it's just a little bit free. He'd love to be snugged up. You see on the left side of your TV screen there, Josh Wise, who was responsible for practicing, qualifying this car. A great job done by Josh Wise here today. Next season, Josh Wise will be sharing this 99 car with David Ruderman and Michael Waltrip. So certainly a lot of talent for Josh Wise.
I'll tell you what, guys, Shannon is exactly right about Josh Wise. This kid was responsible for setting this car up, making sure this car handles perfect, and he has done an outstanding job for Michael Waltrip Racing and David Ruderman.
Well, the other thing, I think there's about 42 cars would like to have the problem the 99 has right now. That car is on the fly. All right, take a little bit further back. There is Carl Edwards, as you can see. Now remember, he did pit. He has now worked his way from 20th back to 15th, and he is trying to get around the 40. Vince?
Well, when Carl Edwards came in, he came in 19th and went out 20th, and they took on 4 tires. So Drew Blickensderfer was very happy with that stop and told Carl, we're in good shape. You're going to be in a good position to start picking them off. And Edwards has done that. He's picked up 5 spots since he came out of his pit stop. He said it just needed a little bit more grip. They made an air pressure adjustment, and it seems to have worked for Carl Edwards.
And look who he's saying hello to as he's going underneath the 2 of Clint Boyer.
Right behind him, Joey Logano is following him. Joey's drafted. He goes, I'm going to learn as much as I can from this racetrack, and we'll see what happens. The 40 car stuck down in front of Joey. Joey's like, okay, guys, let's go.
It's just amazing. When you're racing somebody for the championship, it seems like you're just glued together.
You have magnets in those cars.
For Edwards and Boyer, just to be flying through the field together is something else.
Well, and all Clint Boyer has to do, is just keep him in sight. Carl has to average 49 points more per race to have a shot at overhauling the championship from Clint. Shannon, you got more on Clint?
Yeah, for Clint Boyer, he said earlier in the run, he said the 60 is just rolling the center so much better than I am as he's able to get back down on that low line where he so badly wanted to be. He said that the car is tight. He is plowing big time, guys.
And we've got a spin down in turn number 4 as the 73 car?
71.
Ron Young got it turned around.
He got a little help.
Marty, I got to tell you one thing.
Staying
We're
green.
already, they're staying green right now. He gets it turned around, and going back, and NASCAR is staying green. I just started to say we've already broke a record. These guys have run longer than they did last year. What did we run? 19 laps last time?
Yes, all right. Our biggest green flag run last year was 19 laps.
We got that covered.
Let's go back and take a look. Young was running 28th at the time of this. Yeah, there's a little contact.
Looks like Eric McClure got in the back of him just a little bit. DJ Kennington gets around the outside, and no harm, no foul. Stick this baby back in first gear and get out of here. And NASCAR said, hey, that's cool with me. Keep this thing green.
Well, Mike Bliss has now opened up about a 0.6 of a second lead over James Busher. And then back in third, it's David Stremme. Fourth is Jason Leffler, and David Rudiman is up to fifth. And you can see right there, there's Chase Miller going underneath the 29, as that's a battle for position as well.
Mike hasn't opened it up a lot, and Bush has done a great job. You know, the top 5 of these guys are right underneath. They're real close to each other.
Kelly Hamlin, that is a battle for position, so move Hamlin to 15th. Wimmer's moving backward. He's dropped 2. He's now 16th.
See Bobby Hamilton coming through there. Another guy looking for a sponsor big time. They're telling us that if he doesn't get something financially put together by the end of this race, they might not race next week. So we don't hope that doesn't happen for Bobby. He's been a great competitor in this sport for a long time. And Randy, like you said, it's the second oldest team in all of nationwide racing.
You ain't kidding. Second to James Finch in the Phoenix Racing. Been here 11 years. You know, the Renzis are great people. I've had some great drivers in that car and gone through a lot of people.
Well, believe it or not, we're working lap 48, and there is the race leaders. Mike Bliss is out in front, and he has never finished lower than 8th in 3 prior trips. Does he pick up the win today? Stay with us to find out. Well, Jimmy Johnson's looking to score his 2nd straight victory and put some distance between himself and fellow championship contenders Greg Biffle, Jeff Burton, and Carl Edwards. The chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup continues at Atlanta on ABC tomorrow, and our coverage begins with NASCAR Countdown at 1 Eastern. Right here, Carl Edwards is picking up the pace, and our race leader, Mike Bliss, has a 2.8 second lead over David Stremme. But the fastest car is the man who's got the fresher tires by 29 laps. And Carl Edwards has moved into 4th with the 60. Another guy we want to check in on is the 88 of Brad Keselowski. Keselowski was 2 laps down, but remember, he did pit, came back out, and he's flying.
Well, I tell you what, he's got new tires, and new tires at this racetrack now are doing everything. Brad Keselowski, that last time by, was a half a second faster than anybody on the racetrack. We talked last year how these tires are real hard. This year they're much, much different, and tires are doing everything. Carl Edwards put new tires on, flew through the field. He's pulled himself all the way up into the 3rd position. Look at this, now he's into the 2nd position.
He goes around Stremme, and so the fresher the tires, he can lock this away for the end of the race.
Yeah, anybody that thinks they're going to stay out and run a long run on a set of tires, like Mikey might do it, Martinsville, places like that, but it's not working here. Vince, you got more?
Well, Carl Edwards, remember, he came in on lap 30, so you've documented the fresher tires as we're at lap 58. Now, many of the teams that I talked to earlier today said they thought 50 laps or so on the tires would be about as good as they could get. Once it starts going beyond that, they know there's going to be a significant drop-off. Remember, he went out of that pit stop, Carl Edwards, in 20th position, and he's all the way up to 2nd, and they're on the radio with the leader, Mike Bliss, letting him know that Fresh Rubber and Carl Edwards are coming strong behind him.
Well, he's going to be putting a lot of cars a lap down. He catches Mike Bliss. These guys, he's going, boy.
Well, he is catching Mike Bliss. He was 3 seconds behind last lap. It's now 2.4. Take a look at this battle.
Now here's another guy, Joey Logano, had pitted the last time too and put tires on. And these new tires are just doing everything for these guys. Logano's all the way up in the 7th position. And Mike, this kid is flying right now.
Yeah, he is. He's got the car just the way he likes it. Loose. That's the way this kid likes that race car. I remember his first race earlier this year in Dover. Also his win in Kentucky. All he said on the radio throughout the course of the race, and you know, I'm too tight. I need it looser. Well, that's pretty much what he's saying here today, which is a pretty good indication he's happy with his race car as he makes his way to the front, guys.
And Casey Atwood, you know, did that car he was here and did a lot of testing for these guys. Got in that car, got it set up, took Joey around the racetrack today, and said, hey, this is the way I felt your car was. So kudos to Casey Atwood.
Well, his next victim is the 66 of Stephen Wallace, as he is right behind him. That is for 6th place on the racetrack. And there he goes, taking a look to the inside. Can he get it done? They cross the stripe. Wallace still has the spot, but not any longer.
Well, you got new tires, boy. You feel like Superman.
All right, while all this is going on, Mike Bliss is leading, and he has been. But Carl Edwards is coming. He's only 1.7 seconds behind. Another 4 seconds back is David Stremme in 3rd. We've done 63 of 250 here at Memphis. Working lap 70 at Memphis Motorsports Park. Remember lap 35 when we went back to green, the 60 car was 20th. Guess what? Just before we came back from the break, the 60 car is now your race leader, and it's all about tires.
Well, I tell you what, he just dive bombs. I'm getting down the back straightaway into turn 3, makes a clean pass, and these tires are so hooked up. When they're fresher, they are faster. No such thing as staying out on tires right now, because I tell you, Edwards is just driving off. His lap times are incredible.
He's already opened up a 0.7 of a second lead over Mike Bliss. And remember, it was 29 laps difference on these tires. And I guarantee you every crew chief is making a note of this.
So you ain't kidding. They're like, man, last year we didn't go 19 laps without a green. We're up to 45, 50 laps right now.
Okay, let's not jinx this thing.
Well, this is
right
true.
now we're looking pretty good.
Let's take a look at our Carfax telemetry.
He's done about 5,000 RPM in the center of the corner, accelerating up right now. Let's see what he gets to when he gets into the straightaway. About 135 miles per hour here at Memphis.
You can see he rolls the corner really good right through the center. Off the brake and right back on the throttle.
All right, now we've got a battle for third on the racetrack. Take a look. You've got Joey Logano in the 20 trying to get underneath the 64 of David Stremme, and he makes it go.
Another driver with fresh tires taking advantage of it. Gets right around Stremme on the bottom side of the track, and man, I know these guys have stayed out that last time. The guys that actually haven't pitted at all, they're dying for a caution right now.
So from 20th to first, it took 35 laps.
You're about a straightaway behind first and second. You're P3 right now. Be smooth, take care of it.
I'll tell you what, this actually reminds me of some of the older races at Rockingham, North Carolina, Darlington, South Carolina, when a driver would run 10 laps, a caution flag would come out, and they all come in and put tires on. Randy, you remember that?
Oh, my Lord.
People would say, why are they doing that? But there was just so much grip with those new tires. We're seeing that here today.
Jason Leffler, he goes underneath David Stremme. He takes over the spot. Let's check in with Mike Massaro.
And he's feeling pretty good about things right now, Marty. Remember, he had a real strong run here a year ago and felt like when he left here, he could come back this season and contend for the win. So far, it feels like he's got a pretty good car. The spotter's been coaching him over the radio, telling him he's way better through the center of the corner, and that's where he feels like he's got a pretty strong race car. Although he still thinks he could be freed up just a little bit. Expect them to make an air pressure adjustment and a wedge adjustment when they do come down pit road.
All right, thanks, Mike, for the update. You see the stats on where Leffler started, where he is right now, and Stremme now holding on to him. I mean, Leffler's not pulling away.
Hey, Stremme's got a good car today. That thing is rolling the center of the corner, hooked up pretty strong. It's looking good at the moment. It looks like David Rudiman's tires are pretty well tapered off right now. He's kind of hanging right in there with the same speed of the rest of these guys.
Well, it looks like the best. This is a class of cars that have the original tires on.
Well, and take a look at the top 8. First and third, Edwards and Logano, they have the fresher tires by 29 laps. Everybody else in that top 8, they're on the older skins.
And you know they're screaming. They're like, hey, somebody spin somebody. Come on.
Yeah, for a change, they're now praying for a yellow. Take a look at the 99 trying to get underneath the 64. Boy, we have had some great racing today.
Well, I tell you, our points leader, I was watching Clint Boyer. I mean, he is not getting anything done right now. Clint has fell all the way back to the 21st position, all the way back to 21st, and just not getting this car handled. So Edwards is on a mission, and Boyer's falling back big time. He's another guy that needs a caution bad.
He's only a half a straightaway ahead of the 60. And if the 60 going to see that 2 car, you know he's going to, it's like hanging a banana out there. He's going to get that sucker.
That was lap traffic of Derek Cope that he went around. What's the story from the pit, Shannon?
Clint Boyer says that car is tight. He said, quote, I cannot turn this thing in a 40-acre field. I think that's pretty bad.
Well, and right in front of him, we were singing the praises of James Busher early in the race, but he also has fallen back now on these older tires. He is in 20th, right in front of Boyer.
Tell you what, these guys that came in, these stand-in drivers that did a really good job for all these other guys. You're talking about Boyer, Edwards, Keselowski. You know, I mean, you got to hand it to the fellow who was driving for David Rudiman. You know, Josh Weiss, he's done a great job getting this car set up for him. And obviously, Bobby East was in Carl Edwards' car. Bobby did a great job getting Edwards' cars set up. So it's panning out for these guys at the moment.
Still a lot of racing to go. Take a look at the battle for 10th on the racetrack. That's Cale Gale, all camouflaged and going around the 66 of Stephen Wallace.
He didn't even have to use the elk horn to get by the guy.
Take a look also. It looks like David Reagan wants a piece of the 66 and may get it.
I tell you, this is fun to watch. Just go to a short track race, and we're watching these guys. We're hearing their radios where they're just barely touching the gas pedal off the corner, trying to keep these old hot rods hooked up. They're spinning their tires and sliding just like old short track racing. And it takes a lot of driver finesse to hold on to your car when those tires all wore out like that.
A couple more guys on fresher tires have punched their way into the top 9. Kevin Hamlin's 8th. Chase Miller is 9th. They too took on skins at lap 29. There is the 70 car going around the 66 of Stephen Wallace. So Mark Green, who was very good in first practice, takes over another position. Meanwhile, there is Carl Edwards. He is out in front by 1.8 seconds. He's in some lap traffic here at Memphis Motorsports Park as the laps are flying by. Welcome back to the NASCAR Nationwide Series race here at Memphis, presented by Carfax. You're looking at Carl Edwards, and during the break, Edwards continued his march through the field. There's the 89, Morgan Shepherd. He's back out. He is 68 laps down. They finally got their brake issue solved. But behind is the number 2, the points leader, Clint Boyer. That's right. Boyer is now 1 lap down, as is the 32 of our pole sitter, James Busher.
I'll tell you, they're just flying through this field on his fresh tires. I mean, what is it? I mean, they got like 20 lap newer tires than the guys that stayed out, something like that. And boy, it is paying off big dividends for Edwards and the rest of the guys that pitted. I mean, you can absolutely look out the window and see Logano's faster on the newer tires. Edwards, all the guys that did that are really smoking through here.
It looks like a half of a second between Edwards and fresh tires and Mike Bliss in second on older tires.
All right, well, while we've got a chance, let's get you caught up with our nationwide up to speed on our top 10. We'll start it off with Vince Welch.
I was talking with Carl Edwards crew chief Drew Blickensderfer earlier today, and we talked about the championship. Remember, Edwards was 196 points behind Clint Boyer coming in, and he said, what we really need is one of those days where we can pick up 100 points. Well, they've almost got 100 points on Clint Boyer right now with that advantage of Boyer over Edwards, just over 100. This might be just the kind of day Carl Edwards needs in the championship chase. Running second is Mike Bliss. Now remember, Bliss has not come for tires. Carl Edwards did come for tires at lap 30. It's believed that Bliss and the rest of the group, if there's no yellow, will be out another 20 laps. Right now, Mike Bliss holding on, but holding on well in second. Mike?
Well, Vince, Joey Logano trying to help the 20 team race toward history today as they try to get their 10th win with that particular car. That would match the all-time mark. Well, Logano stopped out of sequence on lap 31, and with fresh tires has moved his way back to the field. He's a little bit loose in, a little bit loose off, but as we mentioned earlier, that's exactly what he likes. We'll talk over the radio, planning to take scuffs next time down pit road. Jason Leffler right behind him, another guy looking for a season best finish. So far his best finish of 2008, 4th place. That came at Talladega, but he had a top 5 run here in Memphis a year ago and is looking to at least match, if not improve upon that here. He's a little bit tight in the center, could stand to be a little bit freer, but otherwise real happy with his race car. His team is planning to pit here in about 10 to 15 laps.
Mike, David Rudiman's crew chief Jerry Baxter said, I certainly can see the value of fresh tires. That car is pretty good for David Rudiman right now. They just need a little bit of more grip. Expected to pit right around lap 115. This team is really looking for a solid finish this weekend. They have not had a top 5 in the last 11 races.
And running in the 6th spot is the 40 car of Kevin Hamlin. It's just his 3rd NASCAR Nationwide Series start this year, but he has the experience of Brad Parrott on the pit box. Remember, they did come for tires at lap 29, 4 tires, fuel, and an air pressure adjustment. Brad Parrott just told him you're the 2nd quickest car on the track right now. Mike?
Vince, an interesting story with Chase Miller. He arrived at the rookie meeting earlier this weekend, and they told him to leave. The funny thing is he's only made 17 starts coming into this race, but the reason they told him to leave is because he has run here at Memphis Motorsports Park before. It's a good thing because he now no longer will have to have the yellow stripe, although it looks like they kept it on the car, Vince.
Well, right now running in the 8th spot is the 5 car of Landon Castle. This is a big race for Castle. He's just 2 points behind Brian Clausen in the Rookie of the Year standings, and Clausen is not in the field here today because he was hoping to make the Cup field in Atlanta before, of course, that race or qualifying got rained out. So Clausen's not in the field, Castle is, and the Rookie of the Year points leader will exchange hands here today. Next up is the 33 car of Cale Gale. Gale making his 3rd start here in Memphis. His best finish has been 25th, but he has good experience this year with 13 starts, and we're seeing it with Jason Meeks on the box. Cale Gale having a good run here today in the top 10 in 9th. Shannon?
Vince, what a solid run for the number 70 car of Mark Green. He qualified for this race 13th, right now running 10th, definitely taking advantage of fresher tires. He did pit on an earlier pit stop, and wow, look at how fast that car is going right now.
And we have a total of 16 cars on the lead lap. Scott Wimmer is the last car on the lead lap in 16th. We've got a total of 8 cars either off or out of the race right now. It's Carl Edwards in control, and pit stops are coming up. Could they be under green?
Back here at Memphis Motorsports Park at NASCAR Nationwide Series, green flag pit stops for those cars that did not stop earlier. They have got to come now, and boy, do they need them. The tires have been a huge difference maker so far in this race. David Strimmy has come in. He started second. He'll take the 4 tires and be thankful to get them because the times have dropped off like the edge of the building with those cars that don't have the fresh rubber. He's been good off the trailer, and he'll have to hope that the tires pay off for him down the stretch here. Mike?
Jason Leffler now on pit road. He's been tight center, a little bit loose off. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment, adding 1 pound to the right rear. Also, they were calling for a wedge adjustment, but I did not see the wrench go in. They may have called that off as they're going to work now on the left side. A 4-tire change on the 38. Vince?
Stephen Wallace in as well, the teammate with David Strimmy. Both he and Strimmy have been rock solid all weekend. 4 tires and wedge for Wallace.
Meanwhile, Carl Edwards continues to motor around this track, and the only thing that these guys that are now stopping can hope for is that all those other cars that stopped back on lap 29, that this race stays green so that they have to cycle through.
One of the things these guys have to be very careful of. These guys with sticker tires are going to be so much faster than the guys that don't have them. You got to watch out. You don't want to run over nobody.
That's Mike Wallace. Let's check in with Mike Massaro. The 47's in.
And a quick 4-tire change for Mike Wallace. He's away.
And we're getting word that the 29 is going to get a pass-through penalty for Scott Wimmer, so that is bad news. He pitted during the commercial break, so Wimmer, and we're seeing that most guys are losing between a lap and a half and 2 laps during these green flag stops. And here comes the 99 of David Rudiman, so he peels off.
You got to be very careful with getting on the pit road and speeding.
Shannon?
This 99 car is just a little bit loose at the start of the run. He's looking for more grip. This is your defending race winner. They're going to try to fix him up with some air pressure. Of course, 4 tires, because we've seen how valuable those tires are to those guys out on the track.
Well, the only guy left as we're watching this go on, Shannon, is Mike Bliss, and he is still running in 2nd place and has not made his stop yet. So Rudiman gets out at 14.9.
These guys are going to have to run another 30 laps. So we're going to have a handful of guys on the lead lap.
Vince, Kelly Hamlin's coming your way.
That's right, Kevin Hamlin has, remember, he stopped earlier as well, so they took on the 4 tires on that first stop on lap 30, and he had been told by Brad Parrott that he was the 2nd fastest car on the track. They had debated whether or not they were going to come for tires during this stop, but they are indeed taking on 4 fresh ones. Shannon?
Vince, Clint Boyer very unhappy with this car. It is so tight. Expect major changes. You see that wrench in the back window. They're definitely going to try to loosen this car up for Clint Boyer. He's been pretty quiet on the radio. He said, I have nothing good to say.
And here comes the 18 of Mark Davis. Davis had already lost a couple of laps as he makes his pit stop. He is now further down in the field. As Shannon, he's coming your way.
Mark Davis in that 18 car. The car's just a little bit tight in the center. This guy qualified great for this race in his very first nationwide debut. He said the car was great. I asked him, how's the driver? He said, the driver's good too. 4 tires for this 18 car.
And the green flag racing continues here at Memphis. The 25 is in, Mike.
And Bobby Hamilton Jr. in now as they go to work on the right side of that car. Bobby looking for a little bit more forward bite. As we mentioned at the top of the show, this is a very important race for Hamilton and Team Renzi Motorsports. Their future may depend on having a very strong run here. Team going to work down the left side, a 4-tire change, also an air pressure adjustment on the 25, now off the Jackson away.
And while that was going on, we can tell you that Joey Logano has gotten around Mike Bliss and taken over second position. But Bliss is still out there. He and Landon Castle. Here comes Wimmer for his pass-through penalty.
That is the longest pit road to this cat right now, Russ. He's like, oh, man.
Oh, it's unbelievable. I'll tell you one thing, guys. There's so many haves and have-nots out there right now. It's going to be tough to keep up with the timing and scoring because these guys are passing each other so fast, it's unreal. And now he gets another pass-through penalty. Wimmer is fast again. You see the frustration on the crew chief, Pat Smith.
Well, if you're going to shoot yourself in one foot, I guess you might as well shoot both.
Unbelievable. Must have a tack reading off, a tachometer reading, something. Just killing this Richard Childress team. Here comes Landon Castle.
Landon Castle. Now remember, this is his first pit stop, and here we are working lap 119.
We have 5 guys on a lead lap right now.
Mike Bliss still out there. He has yet to make his pit stop. And Bliss is coming in now. That's the second car on your screen. So let's send it to Vince Welch first.
Well, Landon Castle is coming and pitted right behind Landon Castle in the 5 car will be the 1 car of Mike Bliss. Both of these guys have been out the entire time. 4 tires and fuel. And for Bliss, the car has been perfect. As you see, just behind the 5 car is the 1 of Bliss. No chassis adjustments necessary. They're just putting on 4 fresh tires, and away he will go in the 1 car.
So it looks like, as this continues, that everybody now has cycled through on the pit stops, and there is the 88, Brad Keselowski. Of course, he had a problem. Shannon, what's the latest there?
Well, the car's pretty good for Brad Keselowski. 4 tires on this pit stop. He's just trying to hold on to that track position that he's got right now.
And he's already 3 laps down, though, and this won't help as these green flag stops finally begin to cycle through. We've run 86 laps green. We didn't make but 19 at all.
Oh, I can't believe what we're seeing. That's a good thing, too. I mean, these guys are really doing a great job driving out there right now. Good job out of everybody.
Hey, Jim.
And pretty soon, this thing should cycle back around where a lot of guys should get back on the lead lap again if Edwards and Logano, Green, and Miller hit their pits anytime now.
Jarrett Johnson comes in on 18th position for his pit stop, Mike.
And he's pretty happy with the race car, although they had kind of a difficult time in qualifying. We're unable to get out on the racetrack in time for qualifying. We're forced to start at the back of the track. Now the hood goes up. Not exactly sure what that is. Haven't heard much over the radio regarding that. We'll check into it and get back to you, Marty.
Well, I thought I heard him say he's on the brakes, check the brakes. Yeah.
Well, I just saw him going to turn 1 a little while ago, guys. Before he got ready to pit, he was all over the racetrack. It looked like a flat tire almost. He was holding on for that baby. I mean, holding on by dear life. He was sliding around a lot.
You said one of the keys was brakes in this deal because you can wear them out here at Memphis. All right, let's reset the top 5 for you. It is Carl Edwards, Joey Logano, Mark Green, then Chase Miller. They're the only 4 on the lead lap. First car on lap down is the 28 of Kenny Wallace in 5th.
It's just amazing. Who would have thought?
Oh, we got a spin. Clint Boyer. Can he keep from making contact? He's off the wall.
They haven't put it out yet.
Still no yellow yet. And now it's out. Our 3rd caution of the day at the midway point of the race as we're working lap 125 of 250.
And boy, that was big for Edwards, Logano, Green, and Miller. There's only 4 guys on the lead lap right now. Everybody else is a lap or 2 laps down. That was big because they were getting ready to hit pit road in about 5 laps.
Make it 5 because Kenny Wallace will get the Aaron's lucky dog and he'll get to come around. So we'll have 5 cars on the lead lap. Take a look.
He went down into turn 1, tried to get underneath the 11 of Scott Lagasse, who has a borrowed crew chief this week from Joe Gibbs Racing, and just pinched himself off and then turned it around. This is what Carl Edwards needs, is for these guys to have a bad day so he can make up a lot of points.
The last time we were here, they ran 19 laps and they kept spinning out, couldn't get past that. This time these guys are over. They've run almost 100 laps before the caution came.
So they can do it.
They can do it.
That's right.
And I tell you what, you got to hand it to Goodyear. Goodyear brought a great tire to this short track. Whatever they brought, they better stick with it. And we're here, and it's the Richmond tire. And that tire has always been good at that Richmond racetrack.
So, as we finally get to catch our breath through a hectic round of green flag pit stops, As we pointed out, we'll now have 5 cars on the lead lap when Kenny Wallace gets the wave by to get back around.
Who would have ever believed? Now, Brian Keselowski's all the way up to 7th. I thought it was Brad for a second. I apologize.
Brad's way over.
Yeah, Brad fell back. He had to change a sway bar, lost 2 laps, and he's struggling. He's 3 laps down right now.
But remember, Brian had his best finish ever here last year. Came home in 10th.
That's right.
Yeah, but right now he's only 1 lap down. He's running in 7th. And
What's
looks like
gonna
Carl
hurt?
Edwards just going to come down pit road right now. And yeah, here he comes down the pits. He's just going to come on in, put 4 tires, and put some gas in that baby, and he is looking good right now.
He had a half of a track lead on Joey Logano.
And there comes the Ford Derek Cope. I'm waiting to see who else will be coming in.
Joey just hit pit road.
Remember, the last time Carl pitted was lap 29, and here we are on lap 26. And there is Joey Logano. And let's send it to Mike Massaro.
And Joey Logano, as we mentioned earlier, loose in, loose off, a little bit tight in the center. They're going to try to correct that with a wedge adjustment and an air pressure adjustment, a 4-tire change on the 20. Vince?
On the 60 car of Carl Edwards, they're going with 4 tires and fuel, and they put on scuffs. As Drew Blickensderfer said, I want to save my stickers for the end.
So, Carl, there is the 70 car. Shannon, let's get an update there.
Mark Green gives up 3rd to come down pit road. He says he just needs a little bit more grip. They did make a wedge adjustment. They're going to take 4 tires for this 70 team. And guys, they said that this car is good to go.
You see the smoke in the background. That's from Morgan Shepherd's car, as he was looking like he was spraying mosquitoes, but it looks like it's cleared itself out.
I think his motor got flushed.
Did it? That's not good. Anyway, we are going to take a break as we're going to catch our breath as we're under our 3rd caution. Would you believe it? And we are now 92 laps of green flag racing, our longest stint this year. Back here at the Memphis Motorsports Park as we have 5 cars on the lead lap, and we will not be going green flag racing just yet. Lights are still on the pace truck. We are under our 3rd caution. Let's take a look at the points. You're going to love this. It was 196 at the start of the day. And look at right now, if it ended, it would be 89. And you're saying, hey, what's the largest comeback with 4 races to go? Well, the man sitting next to me, Randy LaJoie, rallied from 128 down in 1996 to beat David Green.
I had some help. I mean, David had one of these days that Clint's having here. And when he does, you got to take advantage of it.
And we told you that Carl had to average 49 points more per race than Clint. And obviously, if it stands the way it is right now, Rusty, he's going to get a lot more than that. All right, we're going to get a chance to get a break in here because we're going to stay under caution. So here is your top 5, and they are the only 5 on the lead lap. All right, we can tell you the 22 of Jarrett Johnson has come back out onto the track. The lucky dog, as we mentioned from Aaron's, goes to Kenny Wallace. He is now 5th, last car on the lead lap behind Carl Edwards, Joey Logano, Chase Miller, and Mark Green. And the reason we're still under this caution is we've got so many cars that are multi-laps down. They're trying to sort it out in scoring.
Well, Marty, one thing I'm taking a look at it right now, young Austin Dillon, he is in 6th position, 1 lap down, and everybody behind him is 2 laps down, but he's marred back in the traffic, and his team is screaming at him to go around outside, but nobody will let him.
That's a courtesy call.
Yeah, and I don't think that's a bad thing either, because he's the first guy to get the lucky dog, and if they have one more caution, he's back in the hunt of this thing. He's probably being patient right now. Vince, what do you got going on with Austin Dillon down there?
Well, I was just talking with his crew chief, Shane Wilson, and he said the same thing. He said, they don't really owe us the right to go around, but it would certainly be nice since we're a lap down and they're 2 laps down. But we laughed about the fact you're not going to get many niceties out here at this racetrack, that's for sure. But he's really happy with the job that Austin Dillon has done so far. Remember, he's just a young one, 18 years old, and he is making just his 2nd NASCAR nationwide start. So just keep his nose clean to the end, and they're going to be real pleased with him. Shannon?
Vince, Mark Green had to come back down pit road under this yellow flag. He had a right rear flat. Very disappointing for this 70 team. They had such a great run going. As you can see, they're back on pit road.
Doesn't
Pulling
sound
up that hood, taking a look at what's going on underneath that hood. I will check on to see what's going on with this, guys.
Oh, this is such a tough break. He was running in the top 5, one of only 5 on the lead lap, and it's not looking good at all.
And you can tell it doesn't look like the team's hurrying at all to fix this car. Obviously a major malfunction on this car.
Well, they're going to send him back out.
Does it sound like it's hitting on all 8 down there, Shannon?
Doesn't sound very good. Doesn't sound very good, guys.
All right.
I'm checking in with the team right now so I can let you know as soon as I get an update.
Okay, thanks. And we'll keep an eye and an ear on the 70 as we're still waiting for NASCAR to get everybody sorted out.
Okay, so we've got only 3 cars in the outside lane right now that are on the lead lap. Kenny Wallace, since he was a Lucky Dog recipient, has got to start at the longest line in the back. That's a rule.
Yep.
And now Mark Green has just had a problem, and he was the only other guy on the lead lap. So we got 3 guys in the outside lane, and you got to believe those guys that are a lap down are going to go for that top side of that track and get as many positions as they can.
Here's Mike Wallace topping off. Now he is shown in 16th position. He's 2 laps down. But again, if he can
make it to the end on fuel.
Yeah, he could go to the end
if it goes green, and it has gone green so far.
Take a look at this, 136 laps into this race. Only 3 guys, or actually 4 people on the lead lap now. That is it. This baby's going to be a shootout right now.
When Carl come in and pitted, boy, it caught a lot of guys.
All right, looks like we're getting ready to go back to green flag racing because the pace truck has pulled in. It's a very short line on the left side of your screen. It's Carl Edwards, Joey Logano, and Chase Miller. And we're back to green at Memphis. Boy, Chase Miller's running up the track. He's got a problem.
Might have a flat right front tire.
So our 3rd place car is in trouble. David Rudiman's trying to get out in front and pull away so he can get a lap back if we get another caution. There's the 38 of Leffler as he's going around.
Okay, these guys are driving hard right now. These guys that are lapped down and watching them, they are all over the place trying to get as many positions as they possibly can. And that last time by, Jason Leffler's car's got a lot of damage on the right front fender. No smoke yet, but it's been in pretty good.
The 9 car, Chase Miller, it almost looked like the guys might have had the tires on the wrong side. You can see the car's not turning as good as it should.
And that's Austin Dillon in the 21 right in front of him. He, of course, is now running in 6th position. First car down 1 lap.
David Rudiman got a good jump on a restart. Carl Edwards got way ahead of him. And now David Rudiman is listed as 1 lap down right now. So if the caution did come out right now, Dillon gets it, and Rudiman's the next one.
Which is extremely important with 140 laps complete as we're winding this one well past the halfway mark.
Well, these guys are racing right here.
That's what I was going to say. A lot of action going on.
There is.
As the 6 of David Reagan looks to be a little quicker than the 88 of Keselowski, but he can't do anything.
Oh boy, don't you know, Clint Boyer's got to be frustrated right now. Way down at the points right now. This car's ill handling. Frustration setting in, and he is on the throttle. Those front fenders are bent up right now, and Shannon can't be a happy camper down there right now.
Rusty, they've been working on this car. They've been making track bar adjustments each time the number 2 comes down pit road. Clint Boyer was saying that he thought the car was starting to get a little bit better, a little looser. Right now, he just came over the radio and said, I'm plowing again.
It just makes you wonder what happened. Stephen Light drove this car and set it up, and he's a good little racer.
But they weren't fast.
Yeah, that's true. They weren't fast in practice and never could get the speed out of this car, but you know, like I said, Light's awful good. You would have thought he would have felt that in practice.
The points differential right now, 98. It was 196 when we started this race. Clint's having nightmares inside that cockpit.
Well, we're going to have a point race here. This is good.
You're better most of the guys around you right there. Just be smart with this thing.
I guarantee you, Richard Childress is sitting in Atlanta right now chewing his fingernails off, thinking, how in the world can this happen? How can I lose over 100 points, and I'm not even halfway through the race, and my car's still on the racetrack?
But he's looking at his grandson saying, man, that kid's doing a great job.
You got a good point. That's probably who he's paying attention to. He's running 6. Austin Dillon, 1 lap down. Richard, he's looking great out there.
On board with Boyer right now as he has worked his way back to 22nd position. He's ahead of Brad Keselowski, who is 3 laps down. And there is your race leader, Carl Edwards, by 1 second over Joey Logano. Then it's Chase Miller in 3rd, Kenny Wallace in 4th.
You look at Logano running. Yeah, that's right. You look at Logano coming up. You know, there's an owner's championship in this too.
That's right.
Right now, it goes back to Joe Gibbs. The 2 car did have it, and that would have gave Childress 3 wins in a row. You know, if they win the Owners' Championship, that's 3 in a row with 3 different race teams. That's awesome.
But this baby's far from over right now. We do have 5 cars on the lead lap. Mark Green was able to stay out on the lead lap. He is right now in 5th. But he's coming into pit lane again, and that's going to take care of him. So he is going to go at least 1 or more laps down. And meanwhile, Carl Edwards, you saw the margin there as he is just on cruise control here as we are coming up to almost 150 of 250 laps.
Well, the last time by Carl Edwards was about 1/10 of a second faster than David Rudeman, who's out front trying to get one of those laps back right now. So they're both in clear track. And boy, Edwards just got a dominating car today.
Randy, we got another broken sway bar on the 70. That's the report from pit lane.
Really? These guys have got some huge sway bars in these things. And if you don't have the good sway bar arms or the time ends, they break.
All right, let's get an update on what's happening with Carl Edwards. Vince?
Well, it's been a dominating run for Carl Edwards as he's come from the back today. And you know, when you're a team that has a substitute driver during practice and qualifying, as this one did, it was this man, Bobby East, who set up the car for Carl Edwards. And I can assure you there's nobody more relieved to see Carl Edwards running that car well than Bobby East, who Drew Blickensderfer, the crew chief, told me did a really nice job in getting this car ready for Carl Edwards here today. Blickensderfer told me, he said, we know we can win all the remaining races, but we need Clint Boyer to have some problems if we're to win the championship. But our job is to go out and win races. Let the rest of it take care of itself. And certainly the 60 team is taking care of business today and getting a little bit of that good fortune.
Well, and Vince, Halloween is coming up, and right now the 2-car Clint Boyer is having his worst nightmare as we've got a spin and crash down in turns 3 and 4. David Reagan was involved and Kevin Hamlin. So the 40 car has some heavy damage on the rear deck, and that will bring out our 4th caution here at Memphis Motorsports Park.
I don't know if we had a...
Let's go back and take another look. Reagan's in the 6.
Okay.
See Marcus Ambrose on the bottom underneath David Reagan. And boy, it looks like Hamlin just got loose right in front of him. Spins, backs that baby up in the wall. Reagan's on the brakes hard. It looks like he may have a little damage on the right front, David Reagan. Let's take a look here.
Something looks pretty good.
Pretty clean right now, just a little bit on the upper part of the fender, but he did a good job getting that baby woke down.
We'll have to watch him when he comes into pit road. If he locks his brakes up, it looked like he had a little too much rear brake. The thing just got real antsy on him.
Let's talk about what this means in this race. Carl Edwards is still out in front. We only have 4 cars, but we will get a 5th. It'll be Austin Dillon, the rookie, will get the Aaron's Lucky Dog free pass. Guess who's next in line? The only other car 1 lap down, David Rudeman, last year's winner. Okay, so nobody looks like they're going to take a pit stop here from the race leaders. So we'll take a break here as we're under our 4th caution here at Memphis Motorsports Park. Back here at Memphis Motorsports Park under our 4th caution of the day. Let's take a look at our Holiday Inn Express race summary, and going to be some interesting statistics popping up on this screen. We have had 3 different leaders and 3 lead changes. We've also only got right now 5 cars on the lead lap. There's our average speed, which is a lot better than last year. And there are the 5 on the lead lap. We've only run 24 laps under caution. Remember, it was 117 total last year. 7 cars are out of the race.
You see, in the 9 car, cleaning off these tires. I think that's what happened to the 9 car. He didn't clean his tires off. He built up a lot of rubber, and it took him a couple laps to at least get that car to turn.
Get a shout out to Austin Dillon. Got back in the lead lap right now. He's running 5th. Rudeman's the next guy in line to get the lucky dog if the caution comes again.
All right, it is Edwards, Logano, Miller, Kenny Wallace, and Austin Dillon. That's your top 5 and the only 5 on the lead lap as we get ready to go back to green flag racing here at Memphis. Bliss 2 laps down on the inside there in the number 1. He was trying to get out in front, but boy, it didn't happen for him. Landon Castle's underneath him as well, and Carl Edwards shot on by.
I'll tell you what, these guys are doing a good job settling in right now. And those guys on those 4 tires, look at this 3 wide down the front straightaway.
That's Clint Boyer, your championship points leader. The last thing he needs is to get tangled up with Cale Gale in the 33 or the 9 of Chase Miller.
I'll tell you what, Clint Boyer's on a mission right now to try to get some time back, get back in this lead lap. He's going for a championship, and right now he's in trouble.
Boyer is 18th, and he's 3 laps down, Shannon.
Well, Dan Darienhoff came over the radio. He said, you know, if you're getting tighter, it could be the tires. He actually got down off the pit box and took a look at all the tires that had come off of Clint Boyer's car on that last pit stop. But this car is no good, just plowing and tight all day long.
Well, Shannon, you would have thought that he got this car better, but it looks like they can't get the thing fixed. But, man, you wouldn't know that by his driving style because he is very aggressive out there trying to get back what he can get.
And that's something, he can burn that right front up. You know, the harder he turns that thing through the center of the corner.
And heck, we thought Richard Childress is in Atlanta. He's here at the track.
That's right.
On top of the hauler, watching Austin, watching the rest of his cars. Hey, this guy cares. He got in the trip and came all the way over here to watch this thing.
Meanwhile, take a look up front as Mike Bliss trying to get one of his 2 laps back. He is right on the back bumper of the 60 of Carl Edwards. That's Landon Castle in the 5 car, running 3rd in line, but he is 2 laps down in 8th.
Give a shout out to Landon. He's done a great job.
Well, okay, there is some racing going on in the middle part of this race, this pack. These guys are beating and banging, trying to get all the positions they can about right from there on back. Unbelievable.
Jason Leffler as he takes a look underneath the 81 of DJ Kennington. That is not for position. Kennington a lot further back. Here comes Stephen Wallace in the 66. James Busher right behind him. Stephen is 13th, 2 laps down. Busher is 3 laps down in 20th.
And I'll tell you, this thing goes all the way back to the start of this race when those guys, when that caution flag came out around lap 20-something, mid-20s, those guys that stayed out got overhauled. And the guys that pitted, they just drove around this field and lapped everybody, put everybody a lap down. That's what set up this whole mess.
Well, I mean, every crew chief on the board is like, okay, the last 3 years have been nothing but caution flags on top of caution flags. We didn't want to use our tires early. But boy, oh boy, these guys are looking like heroes that put them on early now.
Oh, I totally agree with you. I mean, you would have never believed that this would have happened because, I mean, a lot of drivers down there were talking about just staying out on tires.
Take a look at the 18. Remember, Mark Davis had that wonderful qualifying effort as he qualified 4th here in his rookie debut at age 18. But it has been a bit of a struggle now as the race has progressed. He's 4 laps down in 28th position.
You know, I've been watching him, and he's been, you know, can't say he's been dropping like a rock, but he's been dropping like a rock.
He's been falling back, but, you know, you can't really lay it on him because a lot of this problem started earlier in this pit sequence.
Yes,
and Mark got off.
laps,
But,
right.
Hey, guys, let me say one good positive thing about him. Look at this.
Look at this
There's
clean.
not a dent on this race car, and that's good.
And last year we couldn't say that. There were only 3, I think, that survived the entire race. But this has been a totally different race than the last 2 years. 25 cautions last year, 16 the year before. Right now, we are at 4. And the fewest we've ever had here at Memphis is 7. I hope I didn't jinx us. There's your top 5. Right now, it is Carl Edwards out in front by 2.4 seconds over Joey Logano. And then 3rd is Kenny Wallace, another 0.4 of a second behind Logano.
And he is coming. Kenny is coming. You would think he's on the border patrol looking, running to catch an illegal.
Man, he is flying. I tell you what, he's been wearing out Logano big time, and got to be happy for Kenny. You know, had a big struggle the last couple of years, and I can't tell you, this car is one of the best cars out there, but man, he's driving it like it's the best one out there. This thing is flying.
He's all pumped up. He raced real good at Peevely last week.
Shannon, you've got more on the 28 car.
Well, Kenny Wallace was turning some of the fastest laps on the track. One thing to keep in mind, he is on fresher tires in the 20 and the 60. He came down on lap 152, took 4 tires, maintained his track position, but it was something that happened very early on in this race that has, in essence, gotten Kenny Wallace to where he is right now. Early on, he came down, thought he had a flat, took 4 tires, and of course, that was when he got on sequence with all the other drivers that took 4 tires when they just ran away from the rest of the field.
Yeah, and you've got to remember that all these other guys, you mentioned a good point there. At lap 152, the 2 guys in front of him pitted on lap 127. So now Carl Edwards and Joey have the same situation in reverse.
That's right. Kenny, go up there and take the lead. He'll be up on the line. These 3 guys have been racing the last 15 laps.
Oh, man, they've been bumper to bumper, beating the heck out of each other.
Well, you wouldn't believe it, but you got the 88 of Keselowski in there. He is running in the 19th position. He was duking it out with Bobby Hamilton Jr. right there. Here he goes underneath Jason Leffler.
Beginning of the race, we heard Tony Sr. say it was a 22 car, and it wasn't the 22 of Jared Johnson. It was the 27. Jason Keller got into the back of him.
Brad Keselowski right now is 3 laps down. Jason Leffler and David Stremme and David Reagan are 2 laps down behind them, and they are struggling over space. In the meantime, Carl Edwards up front just having a great day, but he's not really outrunning everybody big time. He's just got the track position right now, guys.
He's about a 1/10 of a second quicker than Joey, and I think if Kenny can get by Joey, Kenny has something for him.
Well, that last lap of the top 5, Edwards was the quickest by 0.2 of a second.
But it keeps going back and forth, Marty. I've been watching the same thing you're saying. I mean, it goes from 0.2 of a second faster to even to slower. Looks like he's altering his line, trying to figure out what's going on out there, but looks now like the race. Oh, we got a lot of smoke down in
left front brake.
Landon Castle got into the bump into turn 3. It can destabilize the car like we talked about. He gathered it up.
Oh, Tim Brewer, he's going to have to call a shock specialist and tell him how to do it.
Landon, as he continues with a nice save there. He's running in 8th. He is 2 laps down. The second car 2 laps down. Right now, the top 5 is Edwards, Logano, Kenny Wallace, Austin Dillon, and Chase Miller. Then the first car 1 lap down is the 99 and only car 1 lap down of David Rudiman. And then it is Mike Bliss, Landon Castle, Cale Gale, Stephen Wallace. That rounds out your top 10. They are all 2 down.
When this thing started, I bet you we could have went to the casino and put on bets. I think we all would have lost our shirts.
The only one that's winning right now is our producer, James Shifton. Said we're going to have at the most 9 cautions. I told him last night he's crazy. He might win this thing.
Brad Keselowski goes underneath Clint Boyer. That was for position, as Brad and Clint are both 3 laps down. So Brad is now 18th. Boyer is 19th.
And every time Boyer passes a car, it's points. I mean, he's gaining points. He can't get any better because he's 3 laps down. So, man, it's going to be a tough road to hoe here for him.
So, and Brad is the first car 3 laps down as those two continue around this racetrack, the 3/4 mile layout here at Memphis Motorsports Park. There's your top 5 as we've completed 183 of 250. Stay with us. It's still not over yet. College football prime time presented by Hampton Hotels is tonight, 7:45 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. The number 2 ranked Alabama Crimson Tide roll into Tennessee to face the Volunteers. 8 o'clock on ESPN2, it's Charlie Weiss leading his Notre Dame Fighting Irish against Tyrone Willingham and the Washington Huskies. All right, take a look at our race leader here at Memphis Motorsports Park. It's Carl Edwards. He has now led 122 laps. We've had a total of 3 different leaders and 3 lead changes. He's got a 3.9 second lead over Kenny Wallace. That's right, during the break, Kenny got around Joey Logano, and Kenny could have his best finish of the year. Prior to this, it was back in 06 at Gateway.
Tell you what, he just went down and turned 3 underneath Joey Logano and just blew his doors off. I mean, you know, everybody I said earlier has got a defining moment, and right now, Kenny Wallace, this is his defining moment. This old hot rod he's got is stuck like glue on the racetrack.
Look at this. Joey's not letting him go, though. If Kenny can catch Carl the last lap time, I mean, he's about the same speed as Carl is. 3 wide going into 3. Come on, guys. Well, here goes. Joey's like, hey, you can't pass me.
Take a look. This is all going all over the track. That's Marcus Ambrose and Mike Wallace as they're duking it out as well on the racetrack.
And these tempers got to settle in right now. Marcus Ambrose is really roughing up Mike Wallace and back and forth.
That's for 14th.
Chase Miller's there, and he's the last car on the lead lap right now. Second to last car. He's running 4th in the 9 car.
And remember, Mike Wallace did top off fuel, so he's got a little more oomph in his tank than everybody else.
I wonder if anybody's going to try to make it on green, or they have to have another green flag pit stop.
Well, Wallace is 2 laps down right now, and if everybody else has to stop and then he could catch a yellow, he could possibly steal one out. All right, you can see going into turn 3 there, you can see everybody like that little bump. Well, it's not so little, Rusty. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, this spot right here, I'll show you. I'm going to circle this right now. This area right here, they ground that. Our Tim Brewer talked earlier in our pre-race show about how shocks are so important. They ground the racetrack a lot right there, guys. Made it much smoother, but it's still bumpy. But they fixed that area pretty good. Now we've got another area down into turn 1 that's given us a problem also, and that is right around this area here. They ground that part of the racetrack also, made it a little bit smoother. But in the past, guys, that's been one big problem here at Memphis, and they seem like they've helped it.
Well, it's just a character line for this place. You got to have character.
And there is definitely character at Memphis Motorsports Park, although this year it's not the same as it was last year. As right now, we've had only 4 cautions compared to 25 last year. And we'd mentioned about the fact that Carl Edwards now led 128 laps. Well, driver leading most laps in Memphis has won only 3 of the 9 races here, but all 3 were in the last 4 times here. Ron Young in the 71 managed to turn it around in turn number 2, but we are staying green as he made no contact with any car or wall. As
he did the same thing early in the race, and they never threw a caution.
The guy's getting pretty good at spinning and keeping going, because NASCAR's watching him. He just loops that baby around and keeps on going straight, and no caution because of it.
Yeah, the one guy who wanted it was David Ruderman. He's 1 lap down and wants to get back on the lead lap. Let's talk about race 7 and the chase for the Cup. It's tomorrow. Jimmy Johnson looking to go for a second straight victory. The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series continues on ABC at 1 Eastern with NASCAR Countdown. All right, let's get up to speed, nationwide up to speed with fuel as the major subject. And Vince, you're up first.
Well, Carl Edwards, the race leader, came in on lap 127, and he took on fuel. That's the big question now. Does he have enough Sunoco Racing fuel to get to the end? Drew Blickensderfer told him just a moment ago, you're about 2 laps short. He came back a few laps later and said, no, I think we're right on. In 20 laps, I'll tell you whether we have to start saving. It's very close. Mike?
Vince, just like Carl Edwards, Joey Logano also stopped on lap 127. His crew chief, Doug Hewitt, thinks that they are about 10 laps shy. At least that's what they thought the last time they came down pit road. What they're hoping, though, is that there are a number of caution flag laps here that may enable them to get to the finish, maybe a little bit closer than 10 because they've had some cautions, but they are short, Shannon.
Mike, 10 laps is the number for Kenny Wallace in that 28, but he is 10 laps to the good. This team came on pit road lap 151. They took on fuel, 4 tires, and they are good to go to the end.
So very interesting, guys. I mean, Edwards and Logano both pitted on lap 127, but we got 2 different versions of who thinks they can do what.
Well, it's all about horsepower, and the more horsepower you have, the more fuel you use. And the way Carl's running, you know, he can start backing it down. He can start saving now. He's got himself about a half straightaway lead.
You know, a lot of times during Cup races and nationwide races, we talk about fuel mileage. Well, we got ready to start this race on what to watch for. I knew one thing. Fuel mileage was something we didn't need to look at, but it looks like we might have to look at it now.
Well, and remember, Chase Miller pitted on 1 lap 152. Austin Dillon pitted on 1 lap, lap 153. That's your top 5 complete. So the last 3 have the best fuel advantage over the top 2. Whoa, a lot of tire smoke going down into 3, but no harm as we're riding on board with Kenny Wallace. You want to talk about winless streaks? Take a look. Kenny Wallace has gone 172 starts. It was back in Rockingham 2001. And right now, he may be in the catbird seat, depending on what happens with fuel, on the top 2, and if we stay green.
Back at the NASCAR Nationwide Series race at Memphis Motorsports Park, lap 213 of 250, and Carl Edwards, the race leader, has just come in for his final stop. And now Joey Logano, who's running second, is in as well. The last stop for Edwards, they put on the best set of tires. He's been the man to beat all day.
Our 5th caution, Ron Young turned it around again in corner number 2. That's become a bit of a habit in the last few laps. There's Kenny Wallace. He also pitted, as did Joey Logano.
Yeah, I saw Austin Dillon come down pit road too. So Austin's back in a sequence right now. You know, he had to start at the longest line before, so he couldn't get himself to the front. Now he's in good shape.
And David Ruderman is the man who's happiest about this as he gets the Aaron's lucky dog, and he will come around and be our 6th and final car on the lead lap. So we'll reset it for you as soon as we get back from the commercial break. But there's a big smile on his face underneath that helmet, I guarantee you. Back here at Memphis Motorsports Park, it's been a Carl Edwards kind of day. The first pit stop set the tone on lap 29, and then he came back from 20th and just sliced and diced his way to the lead. Then he puts points leader Clint Boyer a lap down, saying, "See ya, pal." And right now, as we're getting ready for the restart, it will be Edwards first, Logano second, Kenny Wallace third, Chase Miller fourth, Austin Dillon fifth, and David Rudiman, the sixth and final car, on the lead lap as we're getting ready to go back to green flag racing here at Memphis Motorsports Park.
See a little smoke off that 6 car on the inside. He's been trailing just a little bit of smoke all day. We can't find out what it is until it runs out of oil.
Just to let you know, there are no cars now 1 lap down. It is Mike Bliss in 7th, 2 laps down.
Mike Bliss is going to be working hard to get one of them back right here.
That's right. Got him 3 wide coming out of 4. You can see it there in your screen. There you take a look. There's David Stremme and the 66 of Stephen Wallace. They are 13th and 14th respectively, and they too are in a gaggle at 2 laps down. There's your points leader, Clint Boyer.
Boyer's trying to get all the kiddies. Again, this car is just not handling for him. It's running real tight. Turns the wheel to the left and the thing goes straight. That's called pushing. That's been his big problem all day long.
The worst thing is he only got 1 spot that's 3 laps down, so you really can't gain any more positions.
Yeah, we see David Stremme down there underneath Scott Legacy trying to get underneath of him. These guys are 2 laps down back there trying to get all the positions they can. And there goes Boyer around Kenny Wallace.
Now remember, Kenny is running 3rd right now. Let's get an update from Shannon Spade.
Kenny Wallace on that last pit stop came down. They took 4 scuffed tires on this pit stop. He told his guys, make sure all the lug nuts are tight. He also got a can of Sunoco fuel.
Well, the only thing with Kenny's team, he wanted the scuffs to like 100 lap scuffs.
Well, yeah, that's the thing I was concerned about. When I saw him hit pit road, I saw him put used tires on that 28 car. And man, that's got to make you sick. As running as good as you are, the team's a little bit underfinanced and they put old tires on them, so bad deal.
Well, to give you an idea, his last lap, 21.4 seconds. The race leader, 23.5. 0.6 of a second a lap. You can't afford to do it. Well, I'll tell you what, while we ride on board with our Carfax telemetry to get an idea of the speed, but we're keeping an eye up front. There's an interesting development as we see Carl Edwards. Right behind him is the number 1 of Mike Bliss. Now remember, Bliss is 2 laps down, but if he can somehow get ahead of Carl and then a yellow would come out,
he'll still be a lucky dog. But
he'd still be a lucky dog.
But he'll only be 1 lap down.
That's right. Big transition. Take a look at Joey Logano as he's got his hands full with David Reagan right now. Mike, what's going on?
Well, Marty, before the pit stop, Joey Logano radioed in and said the car was getting a little bit tight. Now, you remember at the beginning of the race, he was loose. That's really the way he likes it. He wants a real free race car. So they tried to free him up with a wedge adjustment. They took a round out on the left side. They also made an air pressure adjustment. And like the 28 car, they put scuffs on that last stop. And, well, so far it doesn't look like the cars really responded the way they anticipated. Really not catching up with the 60 at all right now.
Well, it's a 1.8 second margin from 1st to 2nd. And you saw that David Reagan, who's 2 laps down in 8th, get around him and sort of pull away. And here comes Brad Keselowski, who's 3 laps down in 16th.
There's not many racetracks that scuffed tires work well. Give me stickers, man.
Let's just say one thing. If you put scuffed tires on, it's only because you don't have new tires. That's the problem with this racetrack. They're definitely not going to make you run any quicker.
Oh! 22 of Jared Johnson's going to go around, and it looks like he's going to collect the 71 of Ron Young. If everybody gets refired.
All right, get her fired up, roll.
Caution's out.
Okay.
Well, that's the 3rd time poor Ron Young's.
Come down pit road right now. We'll take the penalty.
Looks like he got some help. You look at Jared's left rear quarter panel, the thing's stove up underneath the car.
It's the 3rd time I was saying that Young has had problems in turn 2. This one was not his doing, though, as yeah, there is some damage to Jared Johnson's car. Jared, brother of Jimmy Johnson, will start on pole tomorrow at Atlanta.
First nationwide race for Jared. He's done a great job.
Right, take a look, see what happened.
Oh, he just got hit in the back by Ron Young. Ron Young just clobbered him. It's like Young couldn't get slowed down or just hit Johnson hard, spun him right up.
Yeah, so I have to correct myself. Ron did have something to do with this quite a bit. All right, Kenny Wallace is coming back in. He says, guys, these tires are junk. We got to do something. Shannon, what's going on?
Well, this is what's going on. It was a big gamble on the 28 teams. They have stickers down here in their pit stall. They were hoping for exactly this to happen. That's why they put the scuffs on this time. Last time, they're now putting the stickers on. Chris Rice, crew chief, looking on. He told me, I knew another caution was going to come out. Now our tires are fresher than the 60 and the 20. So this is exactly what they were hoping for.
And the 99 came in as well to put fresh tires on. So this will be interesting to see how it plays out. We can point out it'll be Mike Bliss getting the Aaron's lucky dog. That'll put him only 1 lap down. But he'll be at the back of the line, so he's going to have to hope for another yellow.
You're right. I mean, Kenny and David Ruderman, they're going to have 20 laps. But the good thing is, I mean, relatively, they're going to be starting, 9th or 10th and 12th because they're going to be with the inside cars, the lap cars, they're going to be close to the front. But boy, I don't think Carl Edwards and Joey are going to wait for them for a whole lot.
Well, let's talk about the motorsports calendar while we've got a moment, because we've got a lot coming your way. ESPN2 tonight, 7 o'clock, we'll have Sprint Cup Series Happy Hour. And then also tonight, back here on ESPN Classic, IndyCar Series with the Gold Coast IndyCar 300. That's 10:30 Eastern from Australia.
I'll be watching that one.
I think I'll stay up for it too. NASCAR Now is on ESPN2 tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Sprint Cup Series at Atlanta as the chase continues. It begins at 1 o'clock on ABC, and then NASCAR Now returns to wrap it all up 10 Eastern tomorrow night on ESPN2. All right, let's take a look at Austin Dillon as he now finds himself in 3rd place in only his 2nd nationwide start. This is a great run for this young man.
You ain't get an 18-year-old kid that's just doing a phenomenal job. Richard's grandson, he's going to sit up there. He's like, okay, come on, grandson. I don't care what the points are. I want you to do good.
All right, let's set it for you as we get ready to go back to green. It's Edwards, Logano, Dillon, Chase Miller, David Ruderman, Kenny Wallace. That's your top 6.
Green flag, green flag.
Well, there was a slow restart right there. They were playing a little cat and mouse.
And Reagan's still got that smoke coming out of the back of the 6. Still can't figure out if it's an engine problem or if it's tire.
Reagan got in that wreck earlier, bent that right front fender, and I'm not too sure that right front fender on Reagan's car is rubbing a little bit, causing that in those restarts or what it is, but still smoke coming out of it.
You saw Clint Boyer there. He is 17th right now, still 3 laps down. And he's got his hands full with the 88 of Brad Keselowski.
Oh, and Austin Dillon slides up the racetrack on the right-hand side of your screen.
Whoa, and everybody's going to let him back.
I think that's just a product of air pressure right now.
Yeah, that could be just some low air pressure causing him not to get hooked up real good, but he's awful high up in the racetrack, Randy, and that's not the preferred line, so I don't know if that car's got some rubber buildup on the tires from the last restart. He didn't get it cleaned off, or what caused that problem?
Well, he's backed up to 6th from 3rd because of that slip, though still is the last car on the lead lap. 19 laps to go, and this race, nothing at all like we were anticipating after the last 2 years that were caution-filled. 25 last year, 16 the year before. There goes David Stremme as he is working his way around a couple of cars. Stremme is in 9th. Steve Wallace right behind him in 10th. They both are 2 laps down.
I've been keeping an eye on the 99 car here. He's making strides to come back up, and we just the 5 and the 33. Boy, there was some close racing, and they were dirt tracking here the last lap.
David Ruderman and Kenny Wallace came on that last time and put new tires on, but it doesn't look like the new tires on Ruderman's cars really caused them to be that much faster than the guys in front of them. I think you're talking about Cale Gale, Brad Keselowski, Stephen Wallace. They've only got 10 laps on them compared to the new tires of Ruderman.
Well, Ruderman right now is shown 4.1 seconds behind the race leader. Now take a look at Keselowski, because we got word just a few moments ago he got himself pretty sideways. That's Clint Boyer underneath him. Oh, we're dirt tracking.
Baby,
that's right.
That thing is stepping out.
This is an asphalt track.
That's a nice save. Kept that baby in one piece. There is the 99. Whoa, and boy, Keselowski gets loose again, opens the door, and here comes the 99 getting underneath the 33.
3 wide going into 1.
And those new tires of Ruderman are paying off right now. He's right on the bottom of turn 1 and 2. He should check out these guys right now on those fresher tires and clean air to the front of that nose of that car. Yeah, I said clean air, even on these short tracks. It helps a lot when you have nobody in front of you. Get that downforce.
Let you know the 29 of Wimmer is 4 laps down in 23rd. Not a factor in all this. The guy to keep an eye on is Ruderman. He is 5 seconds behind the race leader. And while we're watching David try and work his way back to the front, we can tell you that Carl is in no danger. He's got a 2.3 second lead over Joey Logano. This time by, it'll be 13 laps to go as the laps are winding down quickly here. And again, more action behind, not for position. There is the 20 of Joey Logano, and he's got Clint Boyer in front of him. And as we mentioned, Boyer is 16th now, 3 laps back. Whoa!
Well, you see Stremme getting the back of Logano right now. These guys that are 2 laps down are so frustrated because they know they got fast cars, but they just got stuck in that pit sequence earlier in the race, and so frustrated because of it, it's unreal. You can see that Stremme is just driving his guts out.
He said, man, I should be second. That's right.
Yeah, he's thinking, I should be second. I got the second fastest car, but you know what? That's racing. That's what happens.
They had a chance to pit.
Boy, a little while ago, Joey Logano went into turn 3 and locked up that left front wheel. Smoke poured out from underneath that car. He let off the brakes, got that thing hooked back up, but really struggled to get into turn 3 that last time by.
See that there is the 99 of Rudeman going underneath the 66. And Rudeman continues, and we got a spin in turn number 2 again. This time it is Mark Green, the 59 of Marcus Ambrose. There's damage and there's caution on the racetrack. And that will be our 7th now, which ties us for the fewest ever here at Memphis Motorsports Park. But it's still a heck of a lot better than 25.
Well, I'm glad I didn't say anything. I just got ready to say it's only 11 laps to go. We haven't had a caution.
Take a look.
It's gonna be single file restart here.
But you know who helps? The man we're on board with,
That's
Mike
right.
Bliss. He gets the Aaron's lucky dog, and he's very lucky to get through.
Yeah, you see that? I mean, that's like an old movie where it's all corners all smoked up. You can't see nothing, and he drove through it. Bliss didn't make it.
Well, one of the things, I mean, Bliss is the lucky dog, but it's going to be about 8 laps to go when it goes back to green. Lucky dog, tail end of the longest line.
Yeah.
Boy, that's going to make it tough on him.
Yeah, but he'll take it. He'll take it, get back on the lead lap now, but he's got another problem.
Single file restart.
Yeah, the left front tire's flat in this thing.
Yep.
Hope he doesn't do any damage there, he's probably thinking.
9 laps to go now as we go by the start-finish line one more time. That'll put him 7th for Mike Bliss in this field, and will, unless something drastically happens, will again give him a top 10 finish in 4 straight trips here.
Well, we got a lot of damage on the left front of Marcus Ambrose's car. He's just got to hope he can get around the track without dragging off the sway bar right now. A lot of right front damage, a lot of left front damage on this car. Well, if we only got 9 laps to go, though, he should be able to get this baby fixed and at least finish this race out.
Well, Ambrose, not really a factor. He's 15th, 2 laps down, and still trying to nurse it around the track.
Yeah, that's another one of the drivers that's going to race tomorrow in Atlanta live on ABC. He'll be there competing, and he's probably thinking, now just let me out of this thing. Let me get back to Atlanta where I can focus on my Cup car.
Joey Logano's going to make a change as he is coming into pit lane.
Let's see, they put stickers or scuffs on that thing.
Well, I would think he'd be putting some stickers on that baby.
If they had some.
Yeah, it's not a bad call putting them on there right now with 8 laps to go. Mike?
Yeah, stickers this time, guys. Those scuffs just did not work the way Doug Hewitt had planned. They did not get hot enough, quick enough, and they did not react the way. A little bit of a stumble there as he made his way off pit road. There was a debate over the radio between Joey Logano and Doug Hewitt whether or not to come down. Hewitt was reluctant. He didn't think there'd be enough green flag laps to benefit from these new sticker tires, but Joey's response was, look, guys, we're going to go backwards anyway. Everyone behind us is faster. We've got nothing to lose.
Boy, Mike, I'll tell you what, I'll guarantee you with 4 new tires on Joey Logano's car with only 8 laps to go, this guy's going to be driving like a man possessed. He'll be on the throttle. He'll pick some positions up.
Well, there's a guy that's picking up the 99, Shannon.
Jerry Baxter just reminded his driver, you have better tires than the 60. They pitted on 227 and took 4.
And he is 2nd now behind Edwards. Or actually, as we get ready to go,
Boy, Carl brings him down slow.
it's Kenny Ott Wallace shown in 3rd, Chase Miller 4th, Austin Dillon 5th. Boy, Carl gets another good restart. This car has been on a rail since that first pit stop on lap 29. But Rudeman trying to stay with him.
He's hungry. He's like, hey, I did this last year. I need a win. This team needs a win. St. Jude's Hospital needs a win. Let's go.
This time by 6 laps to go. And right now, these two are trying to check out on Kenny Wallace. Both of them hugging the bottom of the track.
Carl rolls the center really good. We heard Clint Boyer say that this morning. but it started the race. Because, hey, he's rolling the bottom a whole lot better than I am.
Down into 3. They survive the bump. Another lap. Here they come. Again hugging the rail. This time by 5 laps to go. And here comes Kenny Wallace trying to fight his way back into the mix. Meanwhile, further back, there's Joey Logano trying to fight his way. And we've got a crash down in turn number 3. Coming out of 4, actually. The 92 has turned it around. Brian Keselowski, who had his best career finish last year here at Memphis, finished at 10th.
32 wrecked us.
It's not going to be that same story today. Brian shown in 22nd position right now at the time of the crash, 3 laps down.
Guys, this is the toughest spot of the race right now. 5 laps to go. The intensity level, these drivers is sky high. Very, very impatient right now. They're trying to get all the positions they possibly can. So I'm afraid this is going to be a hard last 5 laps. Hope we don't have any cautions after this one, but man, it's going to be tough.
5 years in a row, this possibly might be a green-white checker.
All right. While we've got this opportunity, our 8th caution, let's dial up our in-race reporter. Let's see what's he thinking about, Rusty.
David Rudiman, Rusty Wallace, ESPN, you got us?
Hey, go ahead, Rusty.
Man, you got from the back of the pack all the way up to 2nd, got back in lead lap. That thing is looking great, David. You got enough to win this race, or is Edwards too strong?
I don't know. This comes pretty good. You know, it seems like take us a couple laps to get going here, but looks like when it comes down to it, it's probably going to be something close to a green-white checker. So we'll just have to see what we can get here. Proud of my guys. They've done a great job. Jerry Baxter and company here give me a great air dream machine today, so we'll see if we can finish it off.
David, what's the approach on this restart? We saw Carl Edwards bringing him down almost to a halt coming at the start-finish line. He's typical short-track racing right now. You got to hand it to him for doing that, but are you prepared for it?
Well, you know, it's if racing against Carl long enough, you know that he probably won't. He changes it up quite a bit, you know. So I don't know. We'll just have to see. Just have to be ready and anticipate it. There's no telling, but. Thank the Lord, we've had a good race, and I'm still real proud of my guys. So we're gonna get all we can get here.
All right, buddy. Thanks for talking to us. Go back to work.
4.
So as we continue under our 8th caution, we've had 36 laps up to this moment under caution. Remember, last year it was 117. What a difference a year makes. This has been a very interesting race. And we've heard from the 99 camp, Vince Welch. Let's check in on Carl Edwards' team.
Drew, you've been strong all day long, but the 99 has a little fresher tires. Do you feel like Carl, and does he feel like he can hold them off here in the final 3 laps?
I think so. You know, he said he was saving some stuff out there when we were leading. When we got probably 10 more laps on our tires than he does, so we're okay there. Said he was saving some stuff, and that last green flag lap that we got, we both were clean. We beat him a little bit, so as long as we get a good restart here, it's only going to be 2 laps to go. I know he'll do everything he can to hold him off.
There you go, guys. So far, so good. Very calm down here in the 60 pit.
Marty, I got to tell you, this has got to be one of the best short track races we've seen all year long. I mean, this thing is going by fast. We got 2 laps to go. A lot of passing going on. I got to give an A+ to this entire field out there. These drivers have been good all day long.
Yeah, and last year we were chastising them for having the red mist and really making it a disaster, but this year it has been very well run by the drivers and the teams. And as we continue under this caution, we'll remind you that we have a total of 6 drivers, actually 7, on the lead lap because Mike Bliss will get the waiver round.
No lucky dog in the last 10 laps.
Oh, that's right. I did. Good point. I forgot about that. So unfortunately,
he's
Mike
bumming.
Bliss,
I can tell you. So come on, change that rule. Come on.
Yep, that's my bad. Chalk that one up on me because I thought he was going to get around. I forgot about that part of the rule, and you're right because we were under 10 laps. So we'll have 6 cars, with it being Edwards, Rudiman, Kenny Wallace, Austin Dillon, Chase Miller, and Joey Logano, your top 6. 1 to go this time by. We'll go green, white, checker. It means it'll be our 5th GWC here at Memphis and our 9th of 2008.
Man, I think, you know, from 7th to 15th right now, all these guys are 2 laps down. Well, these guys are beating, banging, locking the tires up, overdriving the corners. That's where the battle's going to be.
Oh, you're going to see a lot of it now with the green-white checkered. Hey, they got 1 shot at it, and they're all going to go for it.
Okay, remember last time? You made a good point. It was the 60 of Carl Edwards slowing him down to almost a dead crawl. What's he going to do here? Because you heard David say in the
the
interview
99's there, I would
that
put
he's
my
gonna
nose right
change
up
it
his rear.
Well, buddy, I'll tell you what I'd do. I think I'd lay back about a car length, and I'd stab that thing in this hope that he's going to get it, and I'd try to get him on the inside of the track going on into turn 1. Or else I'd put that bumper right behind him and push him across that start-finish line, get him sideways into one to drive past and win this thing.
Can we see the mark on the wall where the restart point, where they tell you? You know, I mean, we've seen guys do that, you know. Is it the stripe?
Yeah, the stripe that you saw on the last shot is where the restart line is.
It's either put your nose right up under his tail and he don't go, you make him go.
Rudiman's got to get his tires cleaned off right now. He's got to go back and forth. You see right there the white restart line. That's the key line where the restart can happen. Right there, folks. That's the key area where they can jump on that throttle and get after it.
Because they don't have a box. I mean, Rusty, you got in trouble in Martinsville. You started too quick. They don't have a box here. When that restart, when you cross that point, it's green.
Yeah, that race there cost me $5,000 and I paid him in pennies.
Pace truck is off. Get ready, because keep an eye on the top 2 cars. Who gets the better restart? Right behind
Kenny.
is Kenny Wallace.
Right, Kenny's leaning back just a little bit.
Austin Dillon 4th,
There's a
Chase
line.
Miller 5th, and here we go. Oh, and both of them get a good start. Kenny gets caught a little sleeping, but down into 1 and 2. It is Carl Edwards again.
Hey, Rudiman got a great run off that corner.
Can David Rudiman get around Carl Edwards to win this race for 2 years in a row?
He's going to have to give him the bump and run to do it. He's going to have to tap him.
White flag this time by.
One flag, one more time.
Carl Edwards looking to win here at Memphis. He's got the lead by, about 4 feet. Here comes Kenny Wallace. Can he get into the mix? Down the backstretch for the final time.
Anything can happen going into 3. I won a race here last year, or years ago, and it's not going to happen. He won't have nothing for him.
Coming out of turn 4, Carl Edwards with David Rudiman all over his back bumper, and it's going to be Edwards. And the championship is on again.
Unbelievable. Started in the back of the pack, and we got to spin at the start-finish line. It's Bobby Hamilton around. Doesn't get hit. Good job out of Bobby, but what about Edwards? Tailback to the front. His crew is amazing today, guys.
That was all want right there. Carl wants it. He wants it bad. These guys are up on it. You know, that car wasn't fast in practice or qualifying.
Carl Edwards picked up 41 positions over the course of this race, starting in the back of this field. And Bobby Hamilton not happy.
He's going to let somebody know.
Going to see who he decides to have a discussion with.
Oh, he's still mad.
Not him, not him, not him.
And it looks like it's Landon Castle that he's not too pleased with.
That could have been for position. That was 13th.
Well, Bobby's frustrated too. They're trying to find sponsors. I mean, he had a great car today. He's looking good. He's just so frustrated.
He ends up finishing in 21st. There is Carl as he is out of the car and starts finish line. The backflip.
And he lands it.
I've never seen him miss it.
Bobby Hamilton, he's punching him.
Look, we got a backflip and a backhand.
Boy, one left hook and he jumped back. The officials got him.
Yeah, that'll get you a visit to the trailer.
Yeah, but he's frustrated. I don't blame him.
He's number 1.
All right. Well, the action continues even after the checker flag falls here at Memphis Motorsports Park. And for Carl Edwards, not only does he pick up the win, talk about picking up points. Remember we said he had to gain 49 each race? He picked up 80 on Clint Boyer. And that'll give anybody a reason to do a backflip. We'll talk to him when we come back to Memphis.
Carl Edwards getting presented the trophy for winning here today at the Memphis Motorsports Park. He said that is one cool trophy. Congratulations, you earned it today. Did you think maybe David was going to get into you at the end?
I wasn't sure. He told me his guys were trying to talk him into it, and I can't say enough about David Rudiman. He's an unbelievable guy. My little brother is probably his biggest fan. He cheers for him more than he does for me. But yeah, David's awesome. I just can't thank City Financial Group, City Financial enough for putting me in this car. Sarah from St. Jude's Children's Hospital put the paint job on this thing. Scott's, Ford, Save-A-Lot, Gillette, all my sponsors. And David Rudiman, one more time, if I didn't say it, man, he took about a year off my life that last restart.
You closed the gap in the championship chase too, now to 116 points. How Does that enhance your chances, in your opinion, to win the title again?
What's the gap now?
116, so you trimmed 80 off of it.
Awesome. If you can trim off 80 on Clint in one day, you're doing something. We just had a great fortune. Drew made the genius call there at the beginning that got us in a position to put those points on Clint. And I just can't believe it. We got such a great Office Depot fusion for tomorrow. It's been a great week, having a good time, and Kenny Wallace finished third, so I know we'll listen to him all night on the plane going back. And once again, just thank all the fans and City for being on this car. That's very cool.
Just in case you weren't with us earlier in the broadcast, one of the great things about coming to Memphis each year is the involvement with St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. This was the second year for the Design a Dream event. Kids from all over the country took the opportunity to design their own paint schemes, and 8 of them, you saw them here today at the racetrack. And then on Thursday, well, Team Ganassi, along with multiple drivers, went over to St. Jude and allowed the kids to take a tour of the race car and sit in it and actually put their names on the number 40 car, and each of them having a great time. And then they went into the hauler and, even tried on a helmet, and big smiles underneath the helmet. We talked to Scott Wimmer.
Well, we're really excited to be here in Memphis and be part of this event at St. Jude. Just come and see these kids happy for a day and, get some excitement in their life after all they're going through. Really makes you feel good. And to have a car that was designed by one of the patients here, I'm sure it'd bring a lot of joy to him. I'd enjoy to send the trophy back here to St. Jude and see a lot of smile on kids' faces.
The presence of St. Jude here in Memphis and the participation of the drivers always makes this a special event for Scott Wimmer, but I know the day on the track didn't work out like you had hoped that it would today.
No, it was a pretty tough day for us. We had to do 2 pass-throughs, and that just kind of ended it there for us. But Holiday and Chevrolet was pretty good. We were tight to begin with, and we got a lot better at the end there. Just 4 laps down, not much we can do. But got to thank St. Jude and everybody there. We had a great week with the kids up there, and the car looked great, and wish we could have got them a win.
Yeah, high expectations today for the 29, and Scott Wimmer didn't come to fruition. Marty?
All right, thanks, Vince. And yeah, those are the kind of days you'd like to forget. As there you see the winning car as the crew gets ready to take it back for the post-race inspection. And let's check in with Mike Massaro. I think he's caught up with Mark Davis.
And indeed I have, and not a bad debut, 23rd. How would you assess it?
It was an all right for our debut, I guess. Qualified 4th, DLP HGTV Toyota was really good, and we had a right front tire going down there at the beginning, and during that long run, and I couldn't really assess exactly what it was, and I didn't want to come over and make a false accusation for the guys and screw it up even worse. So kind of stayed out there and finally made a green flag caution, and it was the right front going down. So after that, we rebounded a little bit, just in that track position to gain on anything.
I know this organization is extremely high on your abilities and your potential. What does your future hold, and when's the next time we should expect to see you in this race car?
Well, we're working on some more stuff for this year, and really we're working on trying to set down our 2009 schedule for sure, and look like we might do some truck racing, some nationwide stuff as well. So really we're trying to get everything set down in stone for next year, then we'll worry about the next 3 races.
Well, Marty, the 18 teams win streak is over, but certainly reason to be excited. Here's a glimpse of the future. Mark Davis.
Thank you, Michael. Just in case you tuned in late, didn't see the beginning of the race at Memphis, the party starts on Beale Street, but the race takes place out on the track. And on lap 2, not a good start for the 88 of Brad Keselowski. He has the tire go pop as for getting spinned. And then in lap number 28, Marcus Ambrose has a little bit of a problem, as we saw Clint Boyer in the contact there. And on lap 69, Carl Edwards takes the lead from Mike Bliss. And remember, it was that lap 29 pit stop that got Carl those fresher tires. And then he went on to lap Clint Boyer, and it got only worse from there as the 60 would pick up 80 points in the Drivers' Championship. And then, as you get an idea there, Boyer's day really went from bad to worse, as we mentioned, and he gave up an awful lot of points. Carl ends up picking up his 17th career win in the series with David Rudiman all over him. And you heard David say, I should have turned him, but David just doesn't race that way. And of course, the traditional backflip. And then we had a little contact between Landon Castle and the 25 of Bobby Hamilton Jr. There goes Landon turning him around. and Bobby was none too pleased with that and decided to made a little gesture as he helps him with the window net. He reached in and sort of said, I want to talk to you.
Like Landon said, he should have picked his shield up, and at least you could hear the guy.
He said he couldn't hear anything. Let's talk about impressions today. I mean, all of us were surprised at the fact that, we only had 8 cautions after 25 last year. But what else really stood out today?
Well, you know what? The lap 29, when these guys pitted, it threw a curveball to every crew chief on the pit box because none of them thought they were going to go as long as we did on the green.
I don't think anybody thought the tires would do what they did today. A lot of guys talk about just staying out on the tires, and just keeping that track position. But tires are really good. And I will tell you, Goodyear's took a lot of heat this year off and on. But today, they got it right. They had a great tire here today, made from some great racing. We only had 8 caution flags a day compared to 25 last year. A+ to Goodyear today, guys.
Well, and we've just found out that we finally have been able to track down Bobby Hamilton Jr. Let's get his side of what happened, Vince.
Well, Bobby just came out of the NASCAR hauler and meeting with Joe Balish, the series director. What was the verdict?
Oh, he just looked at the replay, and it's, he asked me what happened. I told him, I'm sure, you can go ask him. I'm sure it was just hard racing. He just got into me. I'm sure it was accidental, and, we go on to another week. What can you do? I mean, he's a rookie. He'll make mistakes, and he'll learn from those mistakes. And we just got to, go on. I mean, I'm sure if you go ask him, that's what happened. He just got into me, he was in the throttle, whatever, and that's cool. That's hard racing. So, and as long as he knows what hard racing is, we're cool.
And that's what he had indicated. The two of you have a little bit of a history, though. Is that part of what spurred your reaction to the contact?
No, I mean, I went over and make sure he was okay. His throttle wasn't hanging or nothing, just off the corner. I was cool with it. Like I said, as long as he knows what hard racing is, and, he's young. He's going to be a great winner, a champion in this sport, and as long as he, he'll learn his lessons, and that's what makes a great driver. So even lessons that are still to come, he'll learn. So I mean, it's just one of those things. You just gotta, and that's just hard. It's Memphis. That's why he packed the fans here in the stands.
Bobby Hamilton, best of luck this weekend, Bobby. Let's now go to Shannon.
Well, down here with the winning crew chief, Drew Blickensturfer. First question, everyone's talking about the tires, how important fresh tires were. Are you surprised at what we saw here today with those tires?
Yeah, a little bit. I didn't think they'd come around as much as they did for us that second run. That was our strategy all the time. We figured the leaders, because of last year, were going to stay out because of pit strategy. And we wanted to come get tires, and maybe we can make up some ground on them and then get on the same sequence they were after that. But when we put those new tires on, he restarted 20th and went right to the lead and was really running fast times. It showed us that we needed to have fresh tires for the end of the race.
And guys, this is the second time that this team has been able to do this on a double duty weekend. Got to give a lot of credit to Bobby East for shaking that car down.
And Shannon, the younger brother of the reigning Sprint Cup Series champion, Jimmy Johnson. Jarrett Johnson looking for a big day today, but it just wasn't meant to be. Brake problems?
Yeah, we ended up losing the brakes there, about 150 laps into it. And, it's unfortunate. We had a good pace going, good race speed, and just keeping the car clean is, trying to get to the front there.
Jarrett Johnson trying to carve out his own niche in NASCAR here. He comes home with a 32nd finish today. Marty?
Yeah, unfortunately, it was 18 laps down. Let's take a look at the updated points championship, and 80 markers got pecked away by Carl Edwards. It's now 116 between Clint and Carl, and Brad Keselowski a distant 289 back, and Mike Bliss still in a solid 4th, guys.
Hey, you know what? These guys have did a great job today. After last year, it was just amazing that they have 8 cautions, a field full of young guys. They're making good impressions. It was awesome.
Final thought, Rusty?
I guess my final thought would be Clint Boyer earlier in the race. Before the race started, he said, I feel pretty comfortable about the points. Just can't mess up. Probably doesn't feel comfortable at all right now.
Well, we'll see you next Saturday at 3 o'clock Eastern on ESPN2 for the NASCAR Nationwide Series at Texas. Don't forget the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Atlanta tomorrow at 1 p.m. on ABC. There's our time for next week coming from Texas, 3 Eastern. There is our scheduled time for tomorrow on ABC. And coming up next, it'll be Russo and Steele car auction. Congratulations once again to Carl Edwards for our entire ESPN crew. I'm Marty Reed. Till we meet again.